Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Sidewinder. Today we are talking about whether should you train side pressure or not for arm wrestling, like pure side pressure. The short answer is yes. And why is that? Well, first of all, it's because side pressure is actually a form of gaining height. See, when you just go from here, from the center to here, do you see? Your opponent's hand is below you, so you have gained some height, but in a different direction than what you would expect from high hand top rolling, for example. Think about when top rollers who have achieved hand control lose. They have the hand, but they are off center towards the pin pad. So they are actually in control of the hand, but they have lost height in some sort of manner. And that is the power of the side pressure. And when you want to counter as a top roller, you actually need side pressure to get out of that position, because just the strength of your biceps alone will not be enough. Other advantages to having a strong side pressure is that you can block top roll vectors. So if the top roller goes backwards, but you have enough side pressure to change his vector of pulling, he will be in a disadvantageous position because he can no longer pull towards himself. He has to pull somehow externally rotated. A final example of why training your side pressure is important is that it's easier to cup. You cannot just cup a person that is as strong as you. I think you may have noticed that during your training. You either need some form of side pressure to aid in your cup, or some form of back pressure, be it posting or dragging. You may need supination to properly cup, or maybe even a combination of supination and side pressure. Just bending your wrist is not enough to properly cup someone. It's just not possible. Some people say, not the proponents of side pressure training, mostly some opinionated people on the Western side of training, that you should not train side pressure, that you can change levels with your body. But that is fake. You cannot just change levels without some degree of internal rotation. When we talk about side pressure, we can actually, it's interchangeable with internal rotation. Side pressure is most commonly used to describe something that also involves elbow conditioning. But in the end, it all comes down to internal rotation. You need internal rotation, even when you're quote-unquote changing levels. Because if you do not have that internal rotation, when you change levels by changing your body position, you will find that your humerus gets externally rotated, and then you wonder why. Now, going further, how to train for side pressure. I believe that it's enough to have one good exercise for the side pressure that can be easily trained on a cable system with a fat grip or wrist wrench. I'd much rather use the fat grip because the wrist range will be limited by your finger pressure. So by using a fat grip, you can more easily control the weight, maybe cup it beforehand. It's much more efficient. Leave the wrist range to be used for what it was intended for the finger pressure. Now, hookers, naturally, we prefer to use a low pulley because they want to engage much more of their internal rotation. If you use a low pulley, it's only natural that your hand will be farther away from your body. So there will be much more internal rotation involved. And if you're a hooker, it's only logical that that's what you're going for. You can go for a little bit of a higher angle if you're a drag type kind of puller, just somewhere in the middle between posting top roller, for example, and the hooker. And then you may even use a very high position if you're a high side type of puller, for example, Travis Bagent, or if you're a presser, because you're going from excuse me, because you're going from full vertical position of the forearm and going directly down. I personally prefer to use the highest position because I tend to rely very much on my posting pressure. And I also like that elbow conditioning that pulling from a higher angle offers. Now, the little bonus tip I want to give you at the end. The second strongest internal rotator, the first being the subscapularis. If you don't know what that muscle is, please check it out. I'm sorry, this is my cat. She's been bothering me for a while now. And that one right there behind is my second cat. So, the strongest internal rotator is the subscapularis. But the second one, do you know what it is? Most of you would be tempted to say it's the latissimus dorsi. But it's not. It's actually, in fact, the chest. Now that you know this, you should also know that the chest is more potent in external rotation of the humerus because of the line of the muscle pull. If you research a little bit about the muscle insertions, you'll see that the chest is a much more powerful internal rotator when the humerus is slightly externally rotated, like this. Which means that the chest can be a very valuable asset when you're pulling somehow defensively. For example, think about what I said in the beginning about the top roller that is being stretched even though he has hand control, in order to recover the center position, at least from pin pad to pin pad. A great degree of internal rotation through the chest is needed. Now, what is very important to understand is how to properly train the chest, if you so desire to train the chest in addition to normal side pressure. The best exercise, in my opinion, is the pec deck. Yes, I know. Most of you would say, is it not the bench press? Well, no, the bench press is the most popular. But what you're striving for is a bigger, better, stronger chest for all those moments that you need that extra little bit of side pressure in a losing position. And the bench press just, it does train the chest, but it encompasses so much more, with the possibility of injury also. And by so much more, we also could include the triceps here. Now I know stronger triceps should be good for arm wrestling, right? Well, yes, but triceps in arm wrestling is a little bit of a different beast that maybe we'll tackle in a different video in the future. I think it's enough to say for now that the triceps that you develop during a bench press is triceps that can act concentrically, excuse me, I need some water. But in arm wrestling, the triceps that we want to use and activate is much more of a stabilizer. And we also want a steel tendon of the triceps, because in the end, when we press or we push or we flop press, we actually want to be resistant to pain and be able to leave our entire body weight on the table. So, just to conclude, train your side pressure, train your chest, and if you want, like, subscribe, comment, yada yada yada, the whole thing. Goodbye.